you not entertained? Did you have enough adrenaline, enough suffering for a 1-0 victory? Did you get any more shots? I think Colombia is still shooting from outside the box. What a roller coaster of a game. This is episode number 4 of the Colombia Soccer Show. Man, I'm sweating. I'm glistening right now. What a game. My name is Juan Pimiento. Thank you so much for joining us here on Facebook as we recap again what was just an insane affair between Colombia and the Congo. I want to give a shout out to everybody who's joining us again and who's watching this, whether you're watching it live, whether you're watching it after the fact. I really want to commend you because I bet, like me, you had to go through this. But the most important thing to remember at this moment, because it is the World Cup, is that Colombia won. Colombia are officially in the round of 16, and Colombia still on the driver's seat to clinch first place this Saturday in Miami against Portugal. Before we get into the game, a quick reminder. If you're watching us on Facebook, like our page, like this stream, comment. I want to hear from you. What did you think of the game? What did you make of all that happened? First half, second half, all the goals disallowed, everything that went down. It was crazy. It was crazy. I got to watch it live here. I live in Sacramento, and I got to watch it here with some friends at an outdoor venue. And boy, it was a party, but we all suffered together. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, like us, like this video, subscribe, because you don't want to miss a single stream, a single video during this World Cup. We're going to be previewing and recapping every single game, of course, as we're doing now with this game against the Congo. And if you want more content, you can also follow us, the Colombian Soccer Show, on Instagram, on TikTok, and also on X. Let's get to it, shall we? Another win. Colombia go 6 for 6, 2 for 2, if you will. And they beat the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, as we talked about in the preview. If you remember, and if you joined us during the preview that we uploaded late Monday night into Tuesday morning, I said it to you guys. Compared to the first game, to the Uzbekistan game, is going to be a bit of a similar look, but a tougher challenge. And that's exactly what happened, because the Congo from the first minute, literally from the first minute, already gave us a pretty good scare with that long range shot by Kayembe that went zooming by Camilo Vargas' goal. And boy, did that one really wake us up. And then Colombia responded. I laid out 3 main things that I wanted to see in this game to improve and to really get the result from the first game against Uzbekistan. Number 1, we talked about it, breaking down the low block. Now, the Congo were much more daring from the first whistle, literally, than Uzbekistan. So it wasn't like we saw against Uzbekistan it was 45 minutes plus of a team just hunkering down and waiting for any chance to counter. The Congo, of course, did that at most of the game, but they were also, again, a little more daring. And when they did push up, the entire block pushed up. So it wasn't just one lone guy, maybe 2, like it happened last week. And it was dangerous, and they were able to create very scary moments throughout the game. So how did Colombia attempt to actually overcome the low block? I'm glad to see something, and I have to say, overall, this was a good performance by Colombia. I think if I have to rate it, compared to the first game, is an improvement, for sure. Better performance by Colombia in this game compared to the first one. Now, I wanted to see again ways Colombia were going to break down the low block. And what they did, and it was very obvious from the get-go, and I joked about it at the top of the show, were the long-range shots. And they peppered the Congo with shots from distance. It was pretty amazing to see, because Colombia didn't really do that recently. Over the last couple of years, Colombia didn't really do enough of the long-range shots when they were up against the wall, right? And to see it, but also just to see the number of shots they were taking and how many saves. We have to give credit to the keeper, though. Lionel and Pazzi. I'm checking right now the stats. 8 saves. 8 saves total in this game. What a performance. I think to me, man of the match, quite frankly. Because if it wasn't for him, it would have been a much better result for Colombia. He was saving things left and right. Colombia were missing shots left and right. So at least they were trying something different, right? And also in the second half, when the Congo really were up against us looking for the draw, I saw Colombia go for the direct ball over the top to Luis Diaz, to John Cordova, who came into the game. And I think, again, that was very encouraging just to see Colombia do something different and to see that they've actually set out to do something a little different. And they learned a little bit from the first game. Point number 2, finishing early and finishing often. Going into the halftime break with the lead, that didn't happen. And that one really hurt because it took 76 minutes for Colombia to score. And despite all the attempts and all the shots and all the close calls and the 3 goals disallowed, Colombia should have put this away early. They really should have gone to the halftime break at least 2-0, if you really think about it. So that one is a pending assignment, and the finishing remains something that still haunts Colombia in this World Cup and going back many, many years. And number 3, game management. I want to pull up the lineups because I want to go over this right here. Bottom right. And it went away. Give me one quick second. I'll put it back up. Because game management was, to me, a huge point of contention with Lorenzo, the coach, not just in the first game, but also going back a ways. And if you look at Colombia's lineup here on my right, we see substitutions in the 58th minute. Now, Colombia only used 3. They had 2 to spare. And I thought, again, Mojica was looking tired. Munoz was looking tired. Even Luis Diaz. And I would have liked, I know Colombia were up 1-0, but maybe consider giving Diaz a break because he looks tired. He ran up and down the field. I mean, he's Lucho, that's what he does. He gives you 110%. He doesn't give up. He's not going to just bottle it in. But again, 58th minute, the first couple substitutions, James was taken out. And James did a little bit better this time. I know I was critical of him in the first game, and I heard from a lot of you, especially on TikTok and Instagram. And if you want to go watch that video, go look on Instagram and TikTok. But James didn't do nothing or anything. I should grammatically correct. Didn't do anything in the first game. Man, at least, he took a couple shots. He was at times more active, but again, it's still very spotty. And we talked about it. Every time he plays from the get-go, he lasts about an hour. 58 minutes, he was taken out. Juanfer Quintero came in. I thought Juanfer was all right. I didn't think he was really his influential self that much, or at least like in previous games where we've seen him come in about 20, 15 minutes. He does a lot more than James a lot of times. This time, and he made a mistake at the end, that boy. I think he riled a lot of people up when he took that free kick and he just rugby kicked it over the goal when Colombia should have run the clock out. But anyway, Juanfer came in, James got a break. John Cordova came in when Luis Suarez also was seemingly getting tired, and Suarez just didn't really see much of the ball. He was caught offsides a bunch. And Richard Rios, which again, that one is a repeat from last time. Actually, no, because he came in for John Arias instead of Puerta. Puerta who had a really good game. Another great performance from Gustavo Puerta. All over the field, in the attack, in support of Jefferson Lerma, who was mostly solid, but I'm also worried about his fitness. But again, the 3 points, right? So I would say Colombia were able to achieve 2 of the 3. That's an improvement in my book. And that's the result, right? A 1-0 game. And boy, emotionally, again, it was a roller coaster because so many chances, so many shots, so many saves. And the Congo showed a lot of the vulnerabilities that we talked about because Colombia, yes, they took a lot of the shots from long range, good alternative, but I think Colombia also fell into something that they tend to fall into many times, which is give the ball to Luis Diaz and let him figure it out. in one-on-one. He tried a lot. He had many, many chances. He also took his fair share of shots. And I think with Luis Diaz, it's hard to judge for me because, again, he's giving a lot of responsibility. So to me, Luis Diaz, with the pressure he's has on his shoulders, given the fact that Colombia repeatedly send them the ball and to let him figure out one-on-one, I didn't think he was as effective in this game, not for lack of trying, because with Lucho, there's no questioning his effort. That guy is all heart and is all lungs. It's incredible. But I think he fell into a trap as well, in that you saw Luis Diaz repeatedly attempt the same move. Receive the ball, fake to the left, go to the right, try to take a shot, or to dribble into the box, right? And he kept getting the ball taken from him constantly after a few attempts, and it just wasn't working out. But he made a lot of things happen again. So I think with Luis Diaz, we just gotta be patient and just let him do his thing. He already has a goal in his book, so just let him do his thing. He'll find his way. That's what happens with wingers who rely so much on the one-on-ones, and for wingers who have a surrounding cast that don't do enough to support him, right? Not just to provide him the balls for the one-on-ones, but to also provide him balls into space, for example, or to open up space for him so he's not facing those constant one-on-ones. Wan-Bissaka was there and Bemba was there. I thought the vulnerabilities from the Congo were very evident in this game because, especially in the first half, most of Colombia's attack came from the left, from the Mojica side, going against Wan-Bissaka, who had another bad performance, I thought, as he did against Portugal. And Colombia were finding their way through the left constantly, constantly, constantly. And again, ironically enough, the goal came from the right, from Daniel Munoz, right? But that was something that I saw that we talked about in the preview that I noticed that actually was evidenced in this game. I thought, again, Suarez really struggled. John Cordova came in to provide, of course, more of what he does, which is hold up play, strength, physicality. Wasn't really as effective. So a lot of it, again, fell on Luis Diaz's shoulders to really do something and come up with something. And offensively, I think that's the breakdown, basically. It's a performance that was better, but Colombia have to keep working on this because come the next game against Portugal and afterwards, round of 32, we're going to have to find different ways to win. So not rely so much on Luis Diaz in the one-on-one, not rely so much on trying to find the space and become really predictable and static, passing the ball constantly and not really finding those runs like Munoz did in the first game for the goal. Defensively, better as well from all fronts. But what I mean by all fronts is the two center backs, Davinson Sanchez and Lukumi. Much better game, especially from Davinson, who had a couple of hiccups against Uzbekistan. Camilo Vargas had a very good game in this game. I'm going to look up the stat really quick just to give you the exact number. He had one save officially, but we know again that the Congo were able to get some shots in and he was very solid. That's the Camilo Vargas we need going forward. So I think someone who redeemed himself from the mistake that cost Colombia a goal in the first game, Vargas was better. Munoz and Mojica, I thought it was almost carbon copy of the first game, the second game. Saw the first half, but again, struggling as the game went on. And defensively, Mojica looked like he was tired. Mojica, I thought, had a very Mojica game. Very active on offense and easily got caught on defense many times. Munoz, I thought, was pretty much the same. I think defensively, Munoz also got caught a lot. And we talked about it also. Congo's left side, this is the left side. That was their strong side in the attack. Masuaku, where it was able to get through, he was subbed off, of course, but then his replacement came in, Kayembe, the other Kayembe. He was able also to find some space. So again, the right side for Colombia ended up being another target, and the wings are something to look out for when it comes to Colombia defensively. Lerma picked up a yellow, which is, I guess, it's not concerning because I think yellows get wiped clean, right, for the next round. So same thing with Lukumi. So they should be good. But Lerma, again, just holding up his own as much as he can. Puerta tried to support him as much as he could on defense, but you know, Lerma is very Lone Ranger type, so he can only do so much. And I thought again, for the most part, pretty solid because the attack again from the Congo came mostly from the wings. And other than that, we saw flashes of that high press, man, and I got excited because I always get excited because I know when Colombia press high, they create danger. It's a proven formula, and I'll insist on it until I'm out of breath because it always proves itself. When Colombia press, they're much more effective than when they hold back. I saw it at times in the first half, but again, I have to give them credit because when they did have to hold back or when they were pinned back by the Congo in the second half, they were solid for the most part and they were able to convert the low block into counters. And that was encouraging. Also frustrating because again, the goals that were disallowed, Munoz had a goal disallowed in the first half that was literally by the hair of his elbow. It was ridiculous. Same thing with Lucho Diaz. He got one call off for a push that I thought it was pretty questionable, and the offsides, which also was very close. So again, all in all, Colombia, very good performance in a victory, which was the most important thing. And I'll say it again, and we'll talk about it again. And here are the standings for the group. This is why, because now we got Saturday, the game that we've all been looking forward to, the game we've all have circled in our calendars against Portugal. Portugal redeemed themselves big time against Uzbekistan 5-0. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a brace. They were able to get that, I guess, of his shoulders and just the collective shoulders, I guess, of Ronaldo and his no-show against against the Congo in the first game. And we saw the Portugal that we all kind of fear, right? Let's be honest here. That's the Portugal that we all are worried about. But I still feel like Colombia can win. And if Colombia really plays smart, if they have a solid strategy, especially on defense, I think Colombia can get it because, yeah, Ronaldo's Ronaldo, man. He's one of the goats, the best goal scorer, arguably ever. So, what's the game plan, right? And we'll break this down more in detail on Saturday. We'll do a full preview here on YouTube and Facebook, but you gotta start thinking about those things, right? The matchup between Davinson Sanchez and Ronaldo, who's gonna mark Vitinha, who's gonna mark João Neves. I'm guessing it's gonna be Lerma with Bruno Fernandes, right? How do you stop Cancelo on the left? How do you stop Nuno Mendes on the right? That's gonna be another one. Munoz against Nuno Mendes. How is that gonna work out? Cancelo was effective today against Uzbekistan, so Mojica has to be on his A game. Would Lorenzo make any changes? I don't think so, because he's the type to just keep the 11s, especially after 2 consecutive wins. I don't think he's going to change it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't think this is a game for James, quite frankly. Because if James goes into this game as a starter, Colombia are going to be defending with 10 people against Portugal. And in a midfield, again, with Vitinha, with João Neves, with Bruno Fernandes, we can't be a man down, man. Puerta can only do so much. Lerma can only do so much. So I don't know. We'll see how we see this laid out. Again, I don't expect anything to change from Portugal. So we'll see. And again, we'll break it all down on our next episode, which will be again this Saturday. I will record a full preview of the big game, Colombia against Portugal. But again, as we saw earlier in the standings, Colombia in command. 2 points ahead, which is significant in two fronts because number one, again, the advantage of not having the obligation to win on Saturday to clinch first place. Colombia are gonna, and I hope they go out to win, but if things don't work out, a draw will suffice, and Colombia will be through into the next round. Let's make it 3 points. Number two, I don't know if you guys have seen, but the BBC has I want to check it right now. They have a live bracket basically. So in real time, it's a great tool. They're able to track the round of 32 basically. after every game and I think every goal. So let's check it out because the difference between first place and second place, as I've said many times, it's abysmal as far as the possible matchups. On one half, you have the side with Spain right now, with Germany, with France, with the United States. So you have big guns, right? You have a much treacherous road ahead if you don't finish first. If you do finish first, then the path is a little simpler. I'm not gonna say easy because it's not easy, but it's simpler. And the big gun waiting for us would be Argentina in the quarterfinals. So right now, I'm looking at this website right now. Again, check out the BBC. It'll be Colombia against Croatia, which is pretty scary because we saw what happened in March. Croatia ran us out of town. So that, and again, the Croatia thing, it'll depend on how things shake out, right? In that group, and because we know, of course, that Croatia right now are third place. So Colombia will face one of the third place teams. Croatia is one of those third place teams. So we'll see what happens, but it could be them, it could be Senegal, it could be Paraguay. We've seen that change over the last couple of days. But again, a big difference. So Colombia, the mission again, first place. That's it. Then we'll let the bracket come to us and see what happens. So again, thank you for joining me. I'll close this out because I know it's late. So for those of you who are watching live, thank you again so much for doing so. For those of you who are watching after the fact, which I know it's most of you, thank you again so much for joining us. Make sure to always give us a like, give us a subscription right here on YouTube, right here on Facebook as well. And also to give us a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and X. We have more content coming up. We have discussion going on every social medium. So join us, follow us. This is the place for all things Colombian soccer in English. So join the community. Make sure you participate also with your comments and questions. I'll make sure to read them out during our next broadcast. So again, Saturday, be on the lookout for YouTube, for Facebook, for our preview of Colombia against Portugal. For now, you guys can rest easy because Colombia victorious. 2 for 2, still in command of Group K. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.